I know about classes is they model a real world task, and they actually used to define they actually model a real world task, and then it actually consists of an instance of a class. So that's an object. So an object. So we're going to create actually an object. So and remember, an object is just an instance of a class. So you're going to create a class, then later on in that class we're going to use create an instance of that class, and then use it to model a real world task or a program, and then we could now get to access them. So and I remember that naming classes actually is different from methods. So it uses the Pascal naming principle, whereby you start with each and every word starts with a capital letter. So maybe like you decided to name your class Teams Owen. So this is how things are going. So instead of naming the normal way, Teams underscore Owen, then you now use this naming convention. Now let's start by looking at one of the examples. That's actually one of the simplest one. It's called class animals. So to define a class, so this is its architecture. So you actually start with the class predefined keyword, then you go now for your variable name. So variable name. So I want you to notice something the way I'm naming my variables. Then later on it comes on with a full colon. So we're going to say class animals. So because I'm just using one word, so I don't need to like keep using multiple words. Then you're going to define our normal functions. From the previous classes we've learned about our functions. So we could say define maybe like domestic animals. So we could have a domestic underscore animals. Then we could so the argument here, so we have a self, so then full colon. Then so to make it simple, we're just going to print something here. So it says we stay at home. Then we also have maybe the next one. So let's create the one for wild animals. So we could say now here wild animals. Then remember it takes in one argument. Then we can just say print. So we could just print something now. We stay in the bush. No, sorry, not in the bush, but they stay in the forest. So we stay. Okay, in not at in my English, in forest. Now you can't run this because you need to create an instance. So this is where the object instance now comes in. So remember, an object is an instance of a class. So let's create this object. So we're going to say our object is animals. That's how we create objects. Then we're going to turn it into a variable. So we're going to say, let's say just use a small word. So yeah, we have animals. Then this is now called object instantiation. So we've already instantiated our class into like now an object. So we are modeling this class here. So to access maybe these other method, these other functions, then we could now say animals. So I want you to know something. Animals, the moment I add the dot operator, not an operator, the dot here. So we have this, we can now access these functions here. So you see now that we can access the domestic animals. Then also we could now say like animals dot the wild animals. Oh, so let's run this and see. Oh wow, we are here. We start the forest and we stay at the bush. No, I hope there are no animals around so they can now chase me. Okay, so yeah, they would even start chasing me like, hey, you're bringing coal to the forest. Ooh, we found you. Anyway, so the next thing, so okay, now that we are done with animals, let's try to model one more class. So from these cases, so once you have instantiated your object, you can create new ones. So and then print them. So instead of maybe like coming to create here another one, so you can just say animals dot. So let's say create one for tourists. There's no animals for tourists, but what do we call them? Boom, I forgot the name. Okay, let's just create now for dogs because the name disappeared. So let's say we have animals with dogs. So let's say we are barking. So for me to now to print this into this the same case, so I'm just going to say print. Then we have animals dot dogs. Now if I run this, you now see that the output here. So let me just push this a little up. So it says now that we are barking. So that's actually a simplest way of creating animals. So let's model one for vehicles. So we're going to say vehicles. Then we are going to create one for maybe like a BMW, then have self inside there. Then we're going to say print, then like let's just say BMW driving class. Then the next one we want to create is just let's create Toyota. So Toyota it takes itself inside now as an argument here. So the next thing we want to print is, let's say we are Toyota. So to access this, then remember, first thing you have to do is you have to instantiate it. So by creating an object, so we're going to say vehicles, then call it maybe like just the same name, but now as a variable in small letters. Then to access this method, so you can say vehicles dot. Now we can start maybe like do driving, so BMW. Then you could also have vehicles dot actually the Toyota one. Wow, we are now up and running. So remember, we are sorry, we made a mistake here. It's class actually. So the classes. So now if you run the program, then you see now that BMW driving class, and the other one is we are Toyota. So I can now create here a Benz one, because I know Benz people will now start killing me. So dot Benz. Then now assign it to like we are the racing class. Now, so for me to print this one, so I have to now like call the vehicles. So print, then vehicles dot Benz. Great. So now if I now run this, you see now that we have a BMW driving class, then we are Toyotas, then we are the racing class. That was really amazing, and one quick way of interacting with classes. So the next thing we get to work on is the advanced class, the advanced level of Python programming, where we'll get to work deep more in classes. So make sure you subscribe, of course, and then I'll see you in the next course. So make sure you learn the practice, because we are now advancing into a more technical Python way of learning. So from here outward, we'll be using now the PyCharm. So make sure you have PyCharm installed, and then we'll I'll just do a quick way of installing PyCharm in our intermediate in our advanced level. So make sure you subscribe, like, and share, and then I'll see you again. So I'm out of the bush so that the animals can't find me. Goodbye, my people.